Hello, everyone. This is Heidi with Downtown NorCal Live, and today I have a really special feature. I'm going to introduce Kurt Wiedenhofer. He's the president of Consensus Orthopedics and the general manager of the Track Patch division. Welcome, Kurt.
Thanks for having me, Heidi.
So your story caught my eye because primarily you're a Davis resident, so I was able to see it, but it is a nationwide story right out of our own hometown here. You're based in El Dorado Hills. What is your business typically?
Yeah, so Heidi, we're a medical device company. We've been in business about 27 years. We sell artificial hips and artificial knees. They're implanted for patients that have severe arthritis. And we've been fortunate to sell these all over the country and actually in about 15 countries around the world over the years.
And so when the crisis hit, a lot of elective surgeries were canceled. Actually, most, or if not all, were canceled. And so how did that impact your business?
Yeah, it was dramatic. We're a small orthopedic, boutique orthopedic company, and we have about 60 employees. And it was devastating. And the fact that in just a few weeks, all of our revenue dried up. And it was dramatic in the fact that we needed to find a way to pivot the company to not only help our country in this crisis, but also help ourselves. And so we did pivot the company to manufacturing face shields.
So can you show us a face shield, just so we're clear about what we're talking about?
Yeah. So this is it. It has a strap in the back and also some foam and for comfort around the forehead. And then it has a nice label. We obviously wanted to promote some of ourselves in this process, but made in the USA, and it's called the Shield of Hope.
Wow.
As you can see.
How many of those are you putting out, and who are your general clients at this point?
Yeah, so we have a sales force that's located around the country, and our first was sort of a preliminary run. We wanted to test it and make sure it worked well, and so we did about 2,000, and now this week, and then made sure it was working well, and then we now ordered enough raw material to get about 10,000 this week, another 10,000 next week. And so we hope to ship about 40,000 this month, this month of May.
That's amazing. So masks versus shields, or both? What's your feedback?
Yeah, obviously, as you see on TV, the more gear that you have on, ultimately, the better. But I think something is always better than nothing. So if I would recommend a shield and a mask, but certainly a shield gives you some protection and is really useful. But you see the people with hoods and all the full gears, they zip up, and all these respirator things like that. So, but I think a shield and as somebody going to work, a shield and a mask is going to be very, very, protect them very well.
And so at this point, you're doing primarily first responders, medical providers, but at what point does this become available to the general public?
Yeah, so we're actually working on, our sales guys are actually out there selling to a number of different organizations. They're getting a lot of calls from, like you said, first responders. But we're also looking at working with some of the local, for instance, we go to older convalescent homes, things like that, and they're talking to those people and finding an outlet there. But we're also looking at going online on our website and having them be able to order that way. But I think the other thing we're looking at is designing a child's version.
Wow.
And so we hope that the kids will be protected as they start to go out and play or go back to school or any kind of activities they have. So we want to make it a little bit the strap a little tighter, a little shorter, and then a sort of a kid-friendly label.
Oh, that's cool. Kid-friendly label. I like that. There's nothing like having a little personality at this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of personality, one thing I noticed, I've been noticing on my walks at the Arboretum here in Davis is that I'm smiling at people, but they don't know it. And so I
Yeah.
really love the idea of shields being more readily available. And ironically, here we are in Yolo County. This is our first day of mandatory face coverings. So there you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the one great thing about, there's still that human connection, Heidi, that's so important. And having, being able to smile at somebody is so great. And the shield certainly allows that. But having that, so it's having that combination of the two, but certainly a face shield, they can see their face. It's really great.
So if people want to access these shields, when will they become available on your website, and what is your website?
Yeah, so it's actually, we have it on the trackpatch.com, TRACPATCH, one word, and then also at consensusortho.com. And so both of those have, in about a week or so, they'll be available on our websites.
Okay, so shifting topics just quickly, the Track Patch division, you and I were talking earlier about medicine being remote. And so tell us a little bit about what you're launching there.
Okay. Well, so the Track Patch is a remote monitoring device. It's actually two patches, one for the knee. It's two patches, one placed above the knee and one placed below the knee. And those two devices talk to each other via Bluetooth, and then they upload that information to the patient's phone. And on the patient's phone, there's a recovery app that guides them through the recovery process. Then that information goes to the cloud, and then from the cloud, it's accessible by the healthcare provider anywhere in the world via a mobile app or a web interface. And this device gives the healthcare provider a lot of information how to monitor the patient, early intervention, and early detection. The patient, on the other hand, has a really interactive device that they can work with and do physical therapy. They can look at their progress every day. It tells them where they need to be and where they need to go throughout the episode of care.
And you're expanding these to other joint replacements in the future?
Yeah, we have a fully developed back end, meaning all the software that runs the cloud and the web portals and all that is all developed. So it's easy to plug in other devices. So the next one will be spine, and then we'll have an ACL device, and then a hip device, and then a shoulder device. And so depending on what joint on the body, it'll depend on how many patches will go in conjunction with that joint.
As the world thinks about what is really essential for in-person communication and connection, you seem to be at the very starting point and well situated to manage the world going forward. Do you think that's correct?
Well, we're certainly in this area in orthopedics. We're very excited because what happens, Heidi, is that patients, they want now to get patients out of the hospital. You've heard of ambulatory surgery centers, same-day surgery. They want to get them out of the hospital and in their own home recovery environment. And then they want to keep them there. And so they don't want to have them come back to the hospital or come back to the waiting room with a lot of people, just more exposure. They can go home, they can do their recovery at home, and they're safe, but the healthcare provider can monitor them remotely. They can see how they're doing. So they actually get valuable data so they can intervene and make critical medical decisions remotely.
This is great. Well, I really want to commend you, your colleagues, the entire business of Consensus Orthopedics, right in our backyard, for being a part of not only the health crisis, but for going forward and being leaders. So I have been talking to Kurt Wiedenhofer. He is the president of Consensus Orthopedics and the general manager of Track Patch Division. Thank you so much for joining us, Kurt.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Appreciate it very much.
I conduct interviews Monday through Friday and sometimes Saturday, so I will be joining you again tomorrow with one more. Have a great day, everyone.